Well, let's see what the score is today, shall we? Phyllis Leader is lying unconscious beside a tape recorder which struck back at him. Boris and Natasha are running away with a tape recording of the formula for the silent explosive Hush-a-Boom. And our heroes have been tied and gagged by a couple of mysterious strangers acting under orders from the chief. None other than our old friend, Captain Peter Peachfuzz.
Mm-hmm. What's the matter, Bullwinkle? Cat got your tongue?
Do we let him go now, Chief?
Well, naturally.
But as the gag was removed from Rocky's mouth, he said...
Hey, what's a big idea? Who are these fellas? And what's all this about a secret formula? How come
fellas.
we got tied and
Yeah,
gagged?
Chief.
What happened
Put
to
it
these
back.
porky? Why haven't you...
Try the other one. Ooh! Hello, Bullwinkle. I said, hello, Bullwinkle. Well, didn't you hear me?
Sure, but I don't want to get gagged up again.
Yes, I know, Rocky, but...
Chief,
Yes, Joe.
we've got to take the gag off the squirrel now.
Oh, the SPCA calling again?
No, we need the gag for another show.
What show?
The Unspeakables.
Oh, I didn't know they did comedy.
Sorry, squirrel.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all right. You were just doing your duty.
You know, Ben,
Yeah.
he's a true blue squirrel.
Salt of the earth.
Nature's nobleman.
Gets you right here.
Let's go.
Right.
Goodbye.
Gee, those fellas are sure deadpan.
I don't know. That goodbye was a little hammy.
And now on to recover the stolen formula.
Yeah, on! This way!
Now, wait a minute. We can't all go in different directions.
But how do we decide where to go?
Easy. Come in here a minute.
And the captain led our heroes into the next room where there stood an enormous electronic machine.
Hokey smoke.
It's the Peter Peachfuzz Polar Path Predictor Patent Pending. It tells you what direction to go in.
Well, how does it work?
Well, I put a nickel in this end and...
Boy, that's pretty impressive.
Hush! It's about to give us the answer.
Answer? That's your nickel, Captain.
Yes, and it's heads. We go this way.
And strange as it seems, our friends headed in a beeline straight for an old abandoned warehouse, which just happened to be the secret hideout of Boris and Natasha.
Well, darling, you ready to put together the first batch of Hush-a-Boom?
You said it. Start tape machine.
The next voice you hear will be Moose hiccuping and reciting formula.
And as he recites, I mix ingredients. Go. Hold that!
Darling, what happened?
I think I mixed a little too fast, Natasha. Slow it down.
Sorry, darling. Here goes. Don't tell me, darling. A
little too slow.
Third time's the charm, Boris.
I hope not.
NH3, CO2, U235, and a pinch of salt.
Aha!
This has been a recording.
Who cares? Natasha, I got it here. Hush-a-boom.
And just in time, darling. Look.
Yes, outside the warehouse, our three friends were closing in rapidly.
Well, what can be closed in can be closed out.
And Boris prepared to drop his lethal test tube right on top of our heroes. Don't miss our next episode, Boom at the Top, or Bullwinkle loses his head.
The Yangtze River, which flows through northern China, not only provided the inspiration for the song Yangtze with a Laughing Face, but gives us the setting for our story. Centuries and centuries ago, the Yangtze was nothing more than a small pond that sat beside a palace belonging to a wealthy Chinese emperor.
Well, Honorable Cook, what have we for breakfast today?
Well, I can fix a scrambled egg roll. You like it?
No, I've a hot yen for almond duck.
That's all he ever ate. Almond duck, morning, noon, and night. And that's why the pond was always well stocked with almond-eyed ducklings.
You hear the big news, Foucault? Emperor gonna have almond duck this morning.
Oh, hot dog. I hope the cook picks me.
These almond ducklings live for one thing and one thing only, to have the honor of being fed to their beloved emperor.
Yeah.
We're sort of like a duck kamikaze squadron.
Yeah. All right, handsome up, you birds. Here comes the cook.
The cook came to the edge of the pond and surveyed the ducks with a keen eye. That's when the ducks went into their act.
Look up by my ducky, what a ducky melody.
If you know ducky like I know ducky.
All the time, same old corny imitations.
So he simply selected what he thought was a good-looking duck.
Out for it.
Maybe we'll get lucky at lunchtime.
Yes, they all stood a chance of making good at the next meal, all but one. He was the ugliest almond duckling China ever spawned.
Boy, if this keeps up, I'm going to live to be 104.
And another duck got the honors.
Boy, I'm getting desperate. I got to use the old Chinese noodle.
Dinner time rolled around. The cook reappeared, and this time, the ugly almond duckling floated into view wearing a banner proclaiming that he was Miss America of 1922.
Say, if that duck is good enough to win Miss America title, he's good enough to be served to Emperor.
Well, it seemed as though the ruse would work. The ugly one was placed on a tray and set on the Emperor's table. But wouldn't you know, that day the Emperor was entertaining a guest.
Something is rotten here besides the Liederkranz. Guest of Emperor also wearing banner saying she is Miss America of 1922.
Now, you won't believe this, baby, but it was a tie that year.
That night, shortly before midnight, the ducks held a council.
The ugly duck is giving the pond a very bad reputation. If this keeps up, the Emperor might develop a taste for chickens.
So he took up a collection and paddled over to the object of their discourse.
Here's a sack containing 3,000 yen.
Roughly how much is that in American moolah?
Well, roughly speaking, I would say like $1.50.
Oh, boy. What do I do with all this loot?
Why don't you get talented so the cook will take you out of the pond?
Dawn found our hero flying into the nearby city of Peiping, where he enrolled at the Rock and Egg Roll Conservatory of Music.
Sure, I can teach you how to play music, but you're going to be the ugliest duck ever to graduate from here.
He studied night and day, and a few other Cole Porter songs, too, in the hopes that musical talents would counterbalance his ugliness. Finally, after 1 year of diligent practice on every instrument known to man, he headed back to the pond.
Handsome up, you guys. Here comes the cook to get the Emperor's breakfast.
The cook was amazed, for instead of the usual varied array of imitations, the ducks merely lined up and gave the floor to...
Holy mackerel.
Never had he witnessed such musical virtuosity. And at the conclusion, not only the ducks, but the birds and the fishes broke into a rousing ovation. The cook had no alternative but to pluck the exhausted duck from the water.
Now I get the orange sauce treatment, huh?
Oh, no. I'm going to mail you to Phil Spitalny. He can use a duck like you.
Failure again. In a sense, that is. The duck put in 2 years playing for Mr. Spitalny and then decided to form his own band. He did very well and even received an offer to play the palace. But the only palace that he really wanted to make good in was the Emperor's back home.
Hello, MCA. Cancel my road tour. Notify the trades. I'm giving up showbiz.
Back to the pond he flew, and what he viewed upon arrival startled him.
Oh, for the cry eye. The pond is still stocked with ducks who are prettier than me. Oh, I'm going to remain from here to eternity.
Suddenly, a Chinese frog leaped onto a lily pad.
What you got tears in your almond eyes for?
I'm as ugly as 4 days of bad weather, that's why.
Yeah, well, a lot of people are ugly. I was ugly once myself.
I can't believe it. How come you're not ugly now?
Well, I believe that's why.
I believe you believe, but what do you believe?
I believe that I'm good looking.
Well, this was something he hadn't tried. So for 24 hours, he believed he was no longer ugly. And you know something? It worked. By morning, he was the best-looking duck in the pond.
Oh, you got it made, kid. Oh, you're sure to get picked from the pond.
He was, but not by the cook. The cook selected someone else. But don't feel too sorry for the poor little duck. You see, his name was Donald, and he was taken by a man named Walt... Well, never mind.
That's right, and now I go...
Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy.
Well, on our last episode, Boris and Natasha had succeeded in manufacturing a batch of the silent explosive called Hush-a-Boom.
Natasha, this explosive may change the course of history.
Sort of a boom to mankind, ha ha.
Please, no puns. This is a solemn moment. Ooh, I can see it now. At last, safe crackers will really be able to crack safely. They won't even be arrested for disturbing the peace.
Lovely night, officer.
Oh, is this going to be a great come-and-get-it day, Natasha?
Yes, darling, and they're coming to get it right now.
Who?
Who else? Moose and Squirrel.
Well, here's our first chance to use Hush-a-Boom, Natasha.
And leaning out of a top story, the wily Boris drew a bead on our boys.
Boris, how much Hush-a-Boom is in test tube?
Enough to blow up all the nosy Parkovs and this whole building besides.
But...
Makes you feel all warm inside, doesn't it?
Yeah, but...
Bombs away!
But, Boris, if building blows up...
And it will.
And if we're in it...
We will too. We will too. Natasha, what am I doing?
You're finishing off this episode with a bang, darling. I'll meet you around the corner in half an hour.
Ooh, I got to catch that test tube.
And seizing a handy fielder's mitt, Boris dashed for the stairs. And so as our heroes reached the door of the warehouse...
Stand back, stand back!
Hokey Smoke, what's that?
Just a plug for another show.
What show?
Well, it's either Dr. Kildare or the Game of the Week.
Craziest looking ball player I ever saw.
You haven't been watching Kansas City lately.
Phew. Hey, nice catch.
How many outs is that? Allow me to introducing myself. J. Robert Uppendowner, world's greatest scientist at your service.
What kind of a scientist are you?
I'm a physicist, I'm a druggist. See my test tube? Come inside, I got lots of them.
Yeah, but what was that one doing up in the air?
That's how all my ideas is coming to me.
How?
Out of a clear blue sky.
I've heard of that, but I never really thought it happened.
What is your latest invention?
It's a new soft drink.
Soda pop?
Oh, bigger than soda pop.
What's it called?
Soda Pow.
Catchy name.
And because you witnessed my discovery, I'm going to give you the honor of drinking the first batch.
Little do our heroes know that that test tube contains not Soda Pow, but Hush-a-Boom, the powerful silent explosive.
Quiet, blabbermouth.
Well, I whispered, didn't I?
So, here you are, you lucky fellow. Drink hearty.
But, Dr. Uppendowner, don't you want to see how I like it?
I already know. If you drink that, you'll never drink anything else. Farewell.
And Boris dashed off to join his partner a safe distance away.
I wonder.
Shall we join him, Captain?
Why not?
That voice! Where have I heard that voice?
Rocky, you've heard more voices than Joan of Arc.
Well, here's how.
And Bullwinkle raised the fatal test tube to his lips.
Are we far enough away now, Boris?
Should be, honey bun. Spotlight, please. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our little show. This is Buddy Badenoff, and I'd like to do a few impressions for you.
Boris, you are not the star of this show.
Natasha, besides you and me, who's left?
You know, you may be right.
And for my first impression, it is one of the narrator of a television series.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Tune in next week for Boris Talks to Himself or Mockingbird Heel.
And now, here's that super salesman, Mr. Know-It-All.
Thanks, Rock, but I'm not selling supers, I'm selling soap.
So, sell.
Hello, friends. Today we take up the problem of selling these here soap flakes. The best way is to cleverly disguise yourself as a washer repair man. Hello, kindly sir. Is the lady of the house in?
Oh, so it's you who's been bringing her those boxes of candy.
No, hold it, King's X. I'm the washer repair man, here to fix the washer.
I didn't know it was broken.
Now listen carefully to how cleverly I rouse his interest. Of course it's broken. It's clogged up due to ordinary wash day soaps that produce too much suds.
So fix it.
Oh!
Let me know when you're finished.
You see how I've roused his interest? You see, sir, suds from other wash day products aren't made for your washer. That's why the makers of over 1 leading washer recommend...
Is the washer fixed?
No, but sir, let me tell you why this soap...
Soap, schmope, fix the machine.
The essential thing to remember when you're selling soap is often the buyer merely wants to test your salesmanship abilities.
Is it finished? You fixed the washer?
The reason your washer is clogged, sir, is those thick suds. That's why the makers of over 1 leading washer... Oof!
Gosh, Mr. Know-It-All, what happened?
The washer's still clogged up.
Too much soap?
Nope. Too much me.
Hello out there. I am Peabody. The one with the newspaper in his mouth is my boy, Sherman.
It's a new trick I just learned, Mr. Peabody.
My heartiest felicitation, Sherman, but in the future, when you fetch my paper, don't grasp it with your molars. You've perforated the stock market quotations.
Shall I run out and get another one?
You won't have time. You see, we are overdue at Aachen, Germany.
Who are we going to visit?
The man who founded the first news agency, Paul Julian Reuter. After setting the time indicator for the year 1849, we enter the Wayback Machine, patent pending, and were immediately ushered to a small hamlet in western Germany. This was Aachen.
And look, there's Mr. Reuter's news agency.
Suddenly, from an upstairs window, a paper airplane sailed out and fluttered its way down to our feet.
Gee, what a keen airplane.
Yes, but a miserable news dispatch. I flattened the paper out, and there was a United Press story about a man biting a dog. The dispatch was supposed to be on its way to London, England.
Hey, what's the big idea slowing down the dispatch?
Really, Mr. Reuter, do you honestly intend this paper airplane to get to London?
Well, if the wind keeps blowing, yes.
Is this the way you send your news?
Samari, you got a better way?
Before we could answer, a loud bell began to peal. And the good citizens of Aachen started running to the other end of town.
Quick, grab a bucket and come.
What is it, a cow milking contest?
Worse than that, it's a fire.
Sure enough, we arrived just in time to watch a two-story building go up in smoke.
Why doesn't someone call the fire department?
That is the fire department.
There was nothing left to do but to toast marshmallows. If we had had marshmallows.
Ooh, what a terrible catastrophe.
Cheer up, Mr. Reuter. You've lost a fire department, but you've gained a story.
Mr. Peabody's right. Why not send a dispatch to London?
Because my competition's beating me to it.
Reuter pointed to a gentleman who was busily setting down the details of the recent conflagration.
That's Fritz Grimmelshausen. He always gets his dispatches to London before me.
How does he do it?
Watch, you see? He stuffs the dispatch into the bottle and sticks it in the water. Then he waits for the tide to go out.
Herr Reuter, I don't like to brag. Too often, that is. But I am definitely most positive that with my aid, your communique will reach London before Mr.
Grimmelshausen.
Yes. The tide was already going out, so we had no time to lose. Seconds later, we were inside Reuter's news agency.
There, it's all set to go. Stand back.
We watched in horror as Reuter deftly fashioned another paper airplane and let it fly. This one got as far as the window, then nosedived to the floor.
Oh, conditions are no good for flying. I'm afraid it's hopeless.
Herr Reuter, air-mailing your dispatches is the right idea. It's the manner in which you do it that's wrong.
What's the matter? You think I should put a pilot in the plane?
No. You need a different type of aircraft. I led the way to the roof, and there, perched on a shingle, was a pigeon. It was a simple matter to tie the dispatch to his leg.
Okay, pigeon, fly to London.
He's off! Congratulations, Mr. Reuter. You'll beat Mr. Grimmelshausen for sure.
Sherman was a trifle premature, for the aforementioned Mr. Grimmelshausen had spotted the pigeon and quickly mounting a horse took chase. In one hand, a pigeon gun.
Ooh, that stinker's gonna shoot down my dispatch.
Oh, no, he's not. We hailed a taxi and gave chase.
He hasn't fired a shot. What's he waiting for, Mr. Peabody?
He's waiting for the bird to come down and rest. But in the meantime, there's work to do. Quickly, take this piece of paper and make an airplane. Even as I spoke, our feathered friend glided into view and came to a halt on the left shoulder of the town statue.
He looks bushed.
Never fear, he'll regain his strength in a moment.
Oh, but it'll be too late. Look, there's that rascal Grimmelshausen.
And he's aiming the gun.
The paper airplane, Herr Reuter. I'll take it now. I quickly calculated the wind direction, velocity, and then let fly. The airplane took off, executed 4 perfect Immelmans, and landed directly in the barrel of Grimmelshausen's gun. The trigger was pulled, but the bullet had no way out, so... 2 days later, the pigeon reached London, and Reuter was firmly established as a news agency.
No more paper airplanes. From now on, I make them out of cardboard.
But he should stick with pigeons.
He will in time, Sherman.
What about Fritz Grimmelshausen?
Well, as you can see, he converted his news agency into a fix-it shop. He claims he can repair anything. Unfortunately, anything he repairs doesn't work.
Is that how we got the expression, on the Fritz?
Yes. And it's also how we got the expression, on the Grimmelshausen.
last time, you remember, Bullwinkle was about to drink a test tube full of Hushaboom, the silent explosive. Meanwhile, a short distance away...
Well, that's the end of Moose and Squirtle.
I didn't hear anything, darling.
Sure you did. You just heard a silent explosion. Welcome to the Buddy Badenoff Show, folks.
What channel are we on, darling?
Tune in and see.
But when Natasha tuned a small TV set to this very channel...
Are you all right, Bullwinkle?
Fit as a fiddle and twice as stringy.
Boris, what happened?
To find out, let's go back a little to when Bullwinkle raised that test tube to his lips.
Well, here's how, fellers.
Wait a second. You're not actually going to drink that, are you?
Why not?
Without a straw?
Hey, that's right. I do need a straw.
3 straws.
Yeah, all for one and one for all, and nobody gets enough.
Come on, there's some straws at my place.
I'll just leave this sody pal right here till we get back.
But unbeknownst to Bullwinkle, he had placed the test tube on top of a radio receiver, which was just about to broadcast a message from Fearless Leader.
Fearless Leader calling Boris Badenoff. Do you hear me, Badenoff?
As the mad dictator's voice rose, the radio receiver began to vibrate, and so did the test tube rack.
Badenoff, you incompetent nincompoop. I'll give you just 3 seconds to answer. 1, 2...
And as the Hushaboom hit the floor, the building exploded.
Boris, the whole building went up.
And whatever goes up must come down.
Are you trying to tell me something, darling?
Well, yes.
What is it?
Duck!
Oh, oh, and look, Boris, somebody is throwing party streamers.
Party streamers? Natasha, that was the tape with the formula on it.
Well, we goofed again.
Let's face it, Natasha, as villains, we are a collective flop.
Oh, cheer up, Boris. Maybe someday we'll make the FBI's top 10.
FBI's top 10? We can't even make Kane's 100.
Pardon me, do I understand that you blew up this warehouse?
Boris, the fuzz is here. Here's our chance.
You bet we did, Sheriff.
And you're responsible for all this wreckage?
Of course.
Then I'm afraid you're under arrest.
At last we've made the big time.
You're arresting us as saboteurs?
No.
Spies?
No.
Master criminals, maybe?
Oh, no.
Mad bombers?
No.
Then what?
You are litter bugs. Come along.
Oh, boy.
And meanwhile, a short distance away...
Call for Captain Peachfuzz! Call for Captain Peachfuzz!
Here, boy.
Telegram, Captain.
Hey, aren't you the little fella that used to step out of thousands of store windows and counters all over the country?
Yes, but I had to stop.
How come?
Kept cutting myself on the broken glass.
Hey, listen to this. It's from one of our viewers. He says if we'll get rid of the mad doctor, the Hushaboom formula will be safe.
Move along, you.
Conflab the Rabbi Grabble Depp.
Well, there he goes. The formula is safe.
How do you know that's the guy, Bullwinkle?
He was wearing a white coat and scowling.
So that makes him...
A mad doctor.
Oh, Cisco.
Oh, Pancho.
Hey, wait a minute. This is the ending of another television program about cowboys.
It always worked okay for them.
Yeah, but we don't do that on this show. We always walk arm in arm into the sunset, like this.
Yeah.
And the narrator says...
Tune in next time for the further adventures of Rocky the Flying Squirrel and Bullwinkle Moose. Ho, 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 Cisco!
Wise guy.